There are so many different types of feminism today that, in fact, it is really questionable whether we can use the term feminism in singular or should it rather be feminism. However, for our purpose here, we'll try to accept feminism as a unitary discourse because our primary focus here is on feminist theories of ethics, that too for the beginners. So, as of now, we will not go into the different varieties of feminism which I have dealt with in my other regular channel on English studies. So, just to give you an idea, so there is this range from, say, what we call liberal humanism, where people talk about equal rights of men and women, to this extreme form of radical, you know, feminism, which advocates, say, domination of men by women. Anyway, feminism in any case is possibly an ethical discourse more than anything else. So, when we talk ethics, we understand as something dealing with right and wrong. As of now, let us forget the difference between morality and ethics, though there are nuances. But ethics, let us say, is a kind of public morality. So, what is the ethics or ethical views that feminists uh, suggest? It can be dealt with at two levels, I think, because this lecture is for the beginners. I'm simplifying it. At one level, feminism talks about the equal rights of men and women. Let us for a moment forget this radical feminism, womanism, and other things. But in general, feminism talks about equal rights of men and women. And women, in the view of feminists, have always been subjugated, oppressed in patriarchal societies from the beginning. So, this oppression is obviously unethical, sheer injustice. So, to talk against that. So, that way, feminism is an ethical discourse. At yet another level, this was the first level, at yet another level, the very idea of ethics that we have with us, primarily European or Western, because we are, due to colonialism and all that, our modes of thinking and all are primarily European now, though we are trying to challenge it. I have done other videos, but ethics, for example, is a European or Eurocentric discourse, and European society is patriarchal. In India, there are variations, though that also primarily patriarchal. But anyway, that is now beside the point. So, ethics that we have, according to feminists, is itself a patriarchal discourse, male-centered discourse. Who are the theorists, for instance, major theorists from the beginning? Let us say Socrates, Aristotle, Plato, say Immanuel Kant, Jeremy Bentham, all kinds of names, Levinas that we talk in, or Christian ethics, Jesus Christ, they're all male names. Female names are few and far between. So, the idea of ethics, idea of justice that humanity has, according to the feminists, are primarily male centered views or man's views, passed off as universal. And we made European men's views. Now, okay, these two levels, ethics become very important in feminism or feminist ethics. To repeat, first thing is that feminism maintains that Western societies are all patriarchal societies, and by and large, the societies of the world are patriarchal today. So they have always oppressed women, not given equal rights. Even right to vote, women got much later. Right to education, even in Europe, even in England. What to say about other parts of the world? Barring a few matrilineals or patriarchal societies, very few, mostly it is. And even when there are prominent women among us, they are basically not feminist women, but patriarchal women. They replicate patriarchy. So, ethics demands that there should be equality between the sexes. That way, feminism is an ethical discourse. But more importantly, the other level is the very idea of ethics that we have had since the beginnings, according to the feminists, is basically a patriarchal idea of ethics. decided by man. As it is said in the classic word, democracy of the people, for the people, by the people. We can borrow from it and say that in the feminist size, ethics or justice, these ideas that we have, are actually was designed by men, for men, and maybe of men. So that has to change. So what could be some of the examples? So since ethics talk about values, telltale examples. So feminists, for instance, say that one of the core values of human society is competition. We like it or don't like it. People committing suicide, this and that. It's tremendous pressure. Men are taught to compete with each other. And we have told you all these theories of social Darwinism, survival of the fittest, how Darwin's evolutionary theory was misappropriated and wrongly applied by Herbert Spencer and others. Nonetheless, you have to compete or perish. So, feminists say this is a male value actually, because males are competitive by nature. They say that women are more cooperative, not competitive. So, a female or feminine model of society, or feminist rather model of society, not feminine, would be based on cooperation, not on competition. And cooperation is more ethical than competition, which we understand, even without feminism. So now we'll have to talk about a writer, that is Charlotte Perkins Gilman, an American author. She lived between 1860 to 1935. In the year 1915, Gilman published a novel called Herland. So, Pan known as Heartland, as we say. So, her land, not his land. There, it is all women, and they procreate through parthenogenesis, male not required. And that society is much more morally superior, ethically superior to male societies, as it has been portrayed in the text. No doubt, it is a kind of utopia, but it is not fully utopia. And I think all men also should cooperate. And it is also not that all men are equal. There are other variables. So what about rich men and poor men, as the middle class men? So in our next talk, we'll talk about Marxist ethics, which talks about the inequalities between men and women, and by implication third gender and everything. So gender equality is but one aspect of inequality. The class is a very important variable. So ethics and Marxism will be our next lecture. And also, another important feminist ethics is ethics of care. Care ethics it has become, but it has feminist origins actually. So we should be more caring to each other, caring to people, and not compete with others, not super related. This theory of Gilman and this Harland theory, not theory, the projection, and then ethics of care. So more or less compassion, cooperation. If you please go back to my talk on Buddhism, Buddha's idea of compassion, that's very similar. So this is what I wanted to tell you about feminist ethics in general. Obviously, you may like to know more books are there. This is just for lead. Thank you.